Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to Late Night Live number 57. Ooh, 57. As always, I will start this off by asking, how's the audio sound? Apparently it's always different. Some days people say they can't hear the music, some people sometimes say it's too loud, so you let me know how it sounds. I hope everybody's doing good today. What up, Oja Swinny? How you doing? Alright. Lowercase letters. Today is the game plan. I got tea. What up, Jay? Thank you very much for letting me know. Whew. Today's been a busy day. What up, Hody? Yeah, today's been busy. I did the clubhouse chat this morning with Anandita, and then I went out this afternoon with a friend of mine taking my camera, which I just realized you can see in frame today. Oops. Took my camera out to do some street photography, which I've been wanting to do and get better at for quite a while now. My camera scares me when I take it off of the tripod. I know how to use my camera and work it when I'm in a studio and it's on a tripod and everything. But I'm not good at really quickly doing changes on the fly and, what up, Marilyn? Doing the kind of street photography quick settings and changes. So I want to get used to that. So went out with my friend Michelle around the city looking for murals, taking some photos. And it was a good day. But I'm now a little, I won't say tired, because I'm not tired, but I'm a little worn out. What up, Diego? Welcome, welcome. All right, lowercase letters. So first off, the big decision that I didn't make, maybe you guys can help me make it, is what book I was going to use. My initial thought when I said, let's do lowercase, was to dive into Zenarian arm movement writing, because I think this is one of the best books and it's in depth. But I don't know if I want to, if this is the book I want to go through after looking at it this morning. And that's primarily, it's business penmanship. But the way a lot of the old books, a lot of the courses worked, is they went back and forth. They didn't teach all the lowercase letters and then all the capital letters. They would kind of go, as you can see here, once we get through these drills, start with lowercase, but then you go straight into some capital letters, and then you learn more lowercase letters, and then they go back and forth. And I'm not necessarily wanting to work on capital letters today, so I figured what I could do is go through this book and just use the lowercase letters from it and ignore the capital letters, or we could just kind of make it up as we go and stay in the realm of ornamental penmanship and just go through letter by letter through the alphabet using Lessons in Ornamental Penmanship by PZ Blozer, how we broke down all the elements and then putting them together. So what do you guys think? Yeah, I don't really know which way I feel like doing it today. Today is going to be rather casual. We're not going to be getting super in depth or strict or anything like that, but I figured lowercase letters. Multiple people now have been asking me to do some lowercase letters. So it's a book in PDF format. Book Spencerian Penmanship. I think I'm gonna do one of these two today, I think, because they're the ones I have here. What up, Lori? How's it going? What do I want to do? I mean, I guess the smartest thing would be to do Zahner's method of arm movement writing and just ignore the capital letters. I mean, to be true, the way these courses were set up is for multiple practice days or practice sessions. What up, Jesse? to happen with every page or every lesson. We're obviously not going to do that today. We're just going to kind of rifle through and go through it, because it's boring to do an entire late night live of just undercurves or just the lowercase I or something like that. So we'll try to make it a little more exciting than that. But basically, the decision we have to make is going from or through this book, from Zayner's book, or going through Blozer's book by the alphabet, just doing ornamental penmanship, lowercase letters, and just practicing those, not business penmanship. Now, part of me is kind of leaning towards that, but I wanted to hear what you guys say. Actually, we could do this. Zayner or Blozer? Question mark. Zayner. Blozer. Have I ever done this before? I don't know if I have. I made a poll. You can vote in the poll. I don't know if you can even see that, but it's there. Currently, it is 50-50. We are tied. 1 vote each. You haven't seen either one of these books? Well, Marilyn, you should definitely have this book. It's a PDF. It's on IAMPET's website or archive.org. Lessons in Ornamental Penmanship by PZ Blozer. It is my favorite book ever, basically. So when it comes to ornamental penmanship, I definitely recommend owning that or getting it, the PDF, and printing it out. It's a really good quality PDF. I have the original book of it, and the PDF is the same quality. It's as good as the original. What up, Kim? All right, Diego says business penmanship. The poll is still tied 50-50. Hody, Blozers is what I use more when we're talking about ornamental penmanship and stuff. But with lowercase letters, there's less of the ornamental penmanship in there. The main difference is Zayner's method is going to go through form base, so it's going to start with the undercurve and then the overcurve and things like that, whereas PZ Blozer is just going to go alphabet base, A through Z. Marilyn, the Zayner method of movement writing is in PDF form. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, this version of it, the only place to get it, is it on my Discord? I think it's on my Discord. I scanned this book because this specific version isn't widely available on the internet, but I believe I scanned it and I believe it's available on my Discord. If it's not, let me know and I can make sure it's in there, but I'm pretty sure it's in the business penmanship one. Now I'm sort of changing my mind and wondering if we should go through forms. I am indecisive today. Oh, in our poll, Zayner has pulled ahead with 57% of the votes. We got Lurker James in the house. What up, James? Yeah, these ones, this is a relatively common book to show up on eBay. They show up for sale, and I will say, if it shows up for a lot of money, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. It is not an expensive book. It comes up relatively often. It's relatively common. Not quite as common as like a Palmer Method book or something like that. But it is a common book. It shows up. So, okay, well, it looks like Lurker James is walking around Chinatown. Can I just read you Zayner's book as I imagine Zayner would? Sure. How about we just have a story time? I'll just read you, I'll just read Zayner's book like I'm Zayner. Okay, I think it is decided. Oh, there's been a few more votes for Blozers, but it looks like Zayner's in the lead. So we're gonna go with Zayner method of arm movement writing today. And if you don't have this book, don't stress out too much about that. I just want to double check real quick. I'm going to check my Discord to confirm that it is in there, because if it's not, it should be. I just don't remember if I posted it temporarily or if I made it a permanent thing on my website. Yep. Zahner Method Movement Writing Manual 144 is available in the BP Resources channel on my Discord. So if you want to get the PDF and sort of follow along that way, if you don't have it already, grab it from the Discord. That is the only place that it's available currently. There are no links to it on my actual website, just the Discord. Sweet. Well, let's get into it, I guess. Oh, check this out. He wasn't here last week, but I gotta ask if Lurker Leon is in the house. 'Cause I know Lurker Leon says he gets set up with his computer and his writing stuff and his bourbon. I don't have bourbon, but I poured myself a tasty beverage today. I know I have my tea here as well, but I decided to pour myself a rum and coke. And yes, Kim, so you don't have to ask, this is bamboo rum. I figured I'd have myself a little beverage tonight while I practice my lowercase letters. That's true, I would need a beard. I don't know if I can grow a good enough beard like the old penman had. Page 13. Are we skipping all the way to page 13 already? What's on page 13? There we go. Should we do that exercise? I mean, that's a good exercise to do. Let's do it. Marilyn, it's in the BP resources, in the business penmanship resources page. All right, well, without further ado, let's dive in. We're going to start with, I'm not going to specifically read all of these things, but it's all the full education that's in here telling you to sit straight and blah, blah, blah. We all know that already. We're going to go through just our ovals in both directions and our push-pulls. And then the main difference between doing that and these ones, we're going to go from there, skip to these ones, and then we'll do what's on page 12. All this is just traveling ones all the way across, and then we do this exercise. It's just a way of saving paper, which is the same exercise that's on page 12. So let's do it. I'm going to end the poll because the decision has been made. Bam! Poll ended. Oh, it just is. Oh no. There we go. Ooh, excuse me. Only 10 votes? We don't got a lot of voters in here tonight. I wonder, maybe not a lot of people are into lowercase letters. Can I put that up there without it causing too much problems? Yes, I can. All right. Yeah, don't get run over, James. That would be a bad idea. Zoom in just a little bit here. What up, Hans? Welcome! Hans is new here. Everybody give Hans a welcome in the chat. Nice to have you here. Oh, now ink. What am I going to use for ink today? I think we're going to go with McCaffrey's ink today. I'm not going to use a metronome today. I thought about using a metronome, but I'm just going to write at a free speed today. So you write at whatever speed you feel like writing at. This isn't going to be so much of a class as it will be just a practice session. And if you're not writing along, well then chat along with us. You don't have to write along. That's not a prerequisite to joining in. Fozzie would be glad to not have the metronome of death. Alright, now I'm using lined paper today, so I'll be writing directly on my guide, which I don't normally do, but I'm just using lined rhodia. The spacing is a little bit smaller than I would like. I wish it was More so like there or there, but meh, that's okay. I'll work with what I got. Here we go. We're just gonna go straight into traveling ovals all the way across. I'm gonna make it too high. Get my angle of my paper right here. What up, Ashok? Welcome. We're just about to get started. If I can get my paper straight. There we go. Doing some traveling ovals to get warmed up for our lowercase letters. Just kind of keep these going. Oh, I guess I can follow this song. Is a little bit faster than I would normally go, I think, but it works. Down, 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 down. This is a very scratchy nib, and my downstrokes are way darker than my upstrokes at the moment, which is problematic. Oval quake. Oh, is my camera shaking a lot? Is everything moving a lot? Is that what that means? I don't know what oval quake means. You know what? I'm going to... Woo. Yeah. It's about time I get a new piece of paper towel. Nat. Hello, by the way. I didn't see when you jumped in here. Are my fingernails in contact with the table? When I'm writing, with my grip, I'm holding my pen like so. I'm touching the table with the very basically corner of this pinky nail, and then like the skin on this right, basically there. Exactly what I'm touching right now is what's touching the table. Not any of this, but that part of my pinky finger is touching. And then sometimes that same corner of my what is that, my ring finger, touches as well, but primarily it's the front or top corner tip of my pinky finger is what touches the table. Oh, my table's super wobbly. Yeah, sorry. I want to try a new nib because that one is very scratchy, and I might actually use... No, I still want to use iron gall. I just want to get a new nib. I will save that one for some shaded work. Nib timeout. Yeah, this one is going to nib timeout, which currently nib timeout is in the same little tin as these are all my in-use nibs. So it's gonna go in there. And I will never know which one it is because it's in there. But it's in nib timeout. It's a little too scratchy, and I think that's from, it wasn't when I started using it the other day, but I've been using iron gall a lot lately, and I feel like this iron gall is just being problematic and making me run through nibs a little faster than I'm used to, because I've just been because I'm used to practicing with walnut ink. What'd you miss on Clubhouse, James? Oh, you missed so much? Basically, if you missed the Clubhouse, you might as well just quit penmanship, basically. There's no sense. I mean, it's too much to catch you up on, so you might as well just retire, I guess. It was a good time this morning doing the clubhouse, answering a whole lot of questions, which was really cool. I like answering questions, so it was fun talking about my calligraphy history and just my thoughts on certain things in the calligraphy world and penmanship world. It was a good time. Alright, now, is this nib prepped? We will find out. It is. Yeah, we'll see if this makes me feel any better. Yep. Alright, now we'll do our push-pulls. Ooh, Sig Slinging Sunday. Yeah, I guess that's gonna be... I'll post the first one this Sunday. We'll be getting started. Now they skipped one line in the book, so we'll skip one line. I don't usually skip lines when I'm doing penmanship practice to save paper, but tonight I will skip a line. And maybe I'll fill that line in with something else later to not waste paper. Alright, James, have a good one. Be safe walking around, and we'll catch you later. Thanks for popping in. Uh-oh, don't melt. Do you have an umbrella? I always get asked quite often what I do when I practice, what I write, what drills I do, and it's funny because it's surprising how long it can take to do, like, even these, a full line of certain drills can take a really long time. It is time consuming to do a lot of practice when you're not just doing spaced out forms and letters. Doing drills, it can take a long time to fill a whole page with drills. Luckily, this song is a pretty good tempo that I can follow. As I say that, the song ends, but that's okay. Is the camera where it is okay for everybody, or should I zoom in or zoom out? Or is it okay? Yes, James. Jay, my shaded Spencerian class at Acorn Arts is available for registration. Registration opened up 2 days ago. I was out all afternoon, so I didn't make a post about it. I need to do that. I will make that post tomorrow. That registration is open. I believe the class starts September 22nd. To do some shaded Spencerian, aka Spencerian Signwriter script. Alright, now we have indirect ovals or reversed ovals going clockwise. I'm disregarding the song on this one The beat is a little bit too slow and or too fast to be a good flow for me for doing this size of oval. So I'm just gonna go at my own speed. What up, Mush? Sounds good, Jay. You're registered. Awesome. Nice. I look forward to having you in there. It's gonna be a good time. Heavy rains. Uh-oh, I guess summer is ending, huh? Unfortunately. It's gonna start getting cold here soon. Unfortunately. Makes me sad. It's Canadian winter time. Or we're getting there anyways. I should note that if we're doing business penmanship, a lot of this would traditionally be taught and executed with a straight pen. I'm using an oblique holder, but I could / maybe should be using a straight pen today. I might switch to one later. We'll see how I feel. That works. It does feel different. The biggest thing that gets me with when I use a straight pen is my visibility. It's not usually as good as when I use an oblique holder. I can't see where I'm writing the same. It's not always, but I have a theory, and I could be wrong, but I feel like a lot of penmen of the past wrote ornamental penmanship with an oblique holder and did business penmanship with both an oblique holder and a straight holder, depending. But it was always taught with a straight holder, and I think that's just because it's a little bit easier. They didn't have to worry about the oblique holders being set up the right way, or how far the nib was into a flange and things like that. I think when they were teaching business penmanship or American cursive handwriting, it was much easier to have it with a straight pen, but I'm pretty sure there were penmen that did it both ways. There was one penman who had a series of lessons in the Business Educator named, I believe, G.C. Green, but don't quote me on that name. The last name is Green. I just don't remember the first and middle initial. It was G something Green, or something like that. He specifically said in his lessons that he normally does it with an oblique holder, but that a beginner would find it easier with a straight pen. So that's what they recommend. And that's the only time in any of, the old lessons that I've seen somebody actually say that. Most of the time it just says do this with this and do that with that. But I'm pretty sure they all did it different ways. The spacing shouldn't be any different with a straight pen, Hody. It should be the same thing. Because the arm is making the spacing, not the pen. Okay. Now we're going to do... what do we got in here? Yep. We're gonna do these ones right here. We're gonna do half size. Now, like I said, these ones in the book are a little bit bigger than what I'm doing, but I'll just end up working on a smaller scale today. So we're gonna start doing direct ovals at the half size, traveling all the way across. And then we'll do a row of these ones in groups of 6. 6 individual ones, and then we'll move on to our straight lines. And then from there we'll get into some forms, I think. But if we're gonna do lowercase letters, we gotta start. Oh, that's what I can do. I can fill these spaces with the half height ovals. Yay, saving paper. All right. Ooh, this song's a pretty good tempo. Doing these large ovals, I mean, these ones definitely help with lowercase, the smaller ones I'm doing, but the bigger ones, they warm the arm up. So everything that is movement-based is going to help your writing, period. When we do our lowercase ascenders, they're not quite that high, but they still take up space, so it's getting that range of movement, and it's training our forearm and getting the flexibility and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably not directly helping. I would say for doing lowercase letters, we could probably stick to more of just the smaller exercises, but I think any drills help any movement pretty much. Carmen, yes, you may. We are currently referencing Zahner's method of arm movement writing. It is manual 144. There is a PDF available of it in the business penmanship, the BP resources channel of my Discord, which I can't remember if there's a Discord link in the description of this video. If there isn't, then there's one on my Instagram. In my Instagram links, but I should, if I haven't put one in the description of this video, I definitely should put one in the description of this video and of all the videos. The second one is the link on the Discord. Woohoo! There we go. Now we're gonna do the groups of 6. The signature challenge is gonna be fun. I'm gonna use a lot of the signatures from the Discord that people have posted in the OP chat thread. I'm gonna use a bunch of those and maybe some other ones that are in my own collection of cool signatures. But this will be, yeah, we haven't done one in a while, so I'm excited. Is it on 50? Today, I honestly have no idea what we're writing at today. I could find out. I mean, I'm not going to specifically measure, but I can, let me compare it to a 52, and we'll see. I don't have a guide today, so I'm just holding my paper at what feels good. But let's see here. Yep, it is more slanted than 52. We're probably, I write naturally at about 48, 49, somewhere in there. So I would guess that's what it is. The camera was supposed to be set up so that if my lines are straight, then 52 is where I write at. but I'm writing a little bit more angled than that today. But I wouldn't stress the angle too much. As long as you're writing consistently that same angle and it's not changing a lot as you go down the page, then you're pretty much good to go. All right, groups of 6. 6 doesn't seem like very many. Oh yeah, see, that's very angled. That's a very angled one. I might do 8 just because that makes more sense for my dancer brain. Here we go, that's a better angle. The sleepy oval, yep, he's fallen over. It's had enough. It's had a tough day, the sleepy oval. Just wants to fall. Or maybe it's tripping. Maybe it's a tripping oval. He tripped over forward. Ooh, ovals can't drink coffee. If ovals drink coffee, they get all jittery and have crooked lines. They want to be smooth ovals, so there's no coffee for them. There we go, we did those lines. How do I have my legs stretched? When I'm writing, my legs are just straight out, straight down from my body. On occasion, which let me see right now, my left foot is sometimes ever so slightly farther ahead than my right foot. But it's just when I'm writing, every time I'm writing, my feet are just at a neutral, just straight down. I don't hook them under my chair or straighten them forward or anything like that. I will say when I'm doing slower Spencerian or when I'm doing signature design and things like that, my posture gets a lot more crazy and I lean on things as people have seen and have demonstrated before. And when I do those, because they're not movement based, I let my feet sort of do whatever's comfortable at the time. Sometimes I end up sitting on one leg and things like that. But for penmanship, when I'm training penmanship with movement, everything is, my knees or everything is straight out, straight down, and neutral. I sit far enough away from the desk that my back can stay straight. So if I have to get closer to the page, I bend at the waist so that my back is never, I don't let my shoulders hunch in like this, and I don't round my back like this. It's always straight forward. So this is always nice and neutral. If you don't have good posture in general, these muscles in your back will be fatigued until they get used to sitting like that. So that's why a lot of people be like, oh no, it hurts to have good posture. It doesn't. It just means that your muscles have been lazy and you don't have the proper muscles built to hold yourself in a good position. But your muscles get used to it, and then it's healthier to be in that neutral position. And what's my elbow versus table height? So I use a chair that can go up or down. So when I'm writing, I have my table set up, or I have my chair set up. So when I'm sitting, naturally I'm here, and I rest my arm. This is a natural, it can just bend at a nice 90 degrees, and my shoulders don't hunch at all. But it's also not, I'm not so high that my arm has to, like if you see what happens here, if I was higher and my arm was down, then my hand would be like this. So from my forearm to my hand falls down, it tapers down, which is not what we want, because then when I do movement drills, there's a good chance that I'll go into the table and off the table and into the table and off the table, where I want it to be flat. So that when I do my movement drills, everything is always staying the same level above the table. So you want to, if you can, have your chair situated and your table height in a way where when you sit, you're in a natural neutral position. So when my back is straight and I'm sitting here, my shoulders are relaxed and the weight is falling onto my arm. So nothing is hanging, but I'm not so close that it's not, like if my table was higher or if my chair was lower, my arms would be like this and I'd be sitting, but my shoulders would be hunched. And a lot of people don't realize when their shoulders are, not hunched, sorry, when their shoulders are raised. Because sometimes when your shoulders are raised but your hand is resting, you don't recognize that your shoulder's not completely relaxing because you're not lifting your shoulders, just the table's there, so it's holding your shoulders up. But after a while, the tension created in here is going to be taxing on your body. So you want to make sure that everything is set up at a level, and it doesn't have to be like pinpoint accurate, but at a level where you can sit comfortably and relaxed, and everything can be, your arm can be resting on the table without your shoulders shrugging or without your hand sort of hovering above the table. Yep, my arm, well, I'm sitting at like a, I would say, my arms make sort of, I don't know if you can see this shape. The shapes are in a lot of the books, the sort of diagram. My arm is out and over. I could, if I was a little bit higher, I could write like this, which will be good. But for the angle I have my paper at, my elbow is, yeah, it's a little bit out on both sides. Like that. And I don't know what, if that's a specific degree or angle or anything like that. I don't like to get into analyzing things all that much in that regard. How often do I move my paper? I would say on a sheet like this, like if I was doing just like traveling ovals, I would probably 4 times. I would do this in 4 movements, maybe 5 if I wasn't paying attention. Oftentimes I won't get all the way to the end of my sort of range of movement and then move. Sometimes like you're going and you run out of ink. So I will stop and dip more ink, but I won't, because my elbow or my forearm is already being reset because I'm dipping. When I'm coming back down, I move the paper so that I'm in a neutral, good starting position. So it's not always the exact same, but I would say if I was just doing straight across, I would probably do this in 4 or 5 chunks. If I was stretching, I could probably do it in 3. For one piece of paper all the way across, I could probably get it in 3. I could maybe stretch all the way to 2, but I'd be risking my angles and stuff changing, but usually 4 or 5. Four is good, yeah. It's basically whenever I start to feel angle is different, or I'll find sometimes when I'm writing, if my wrist feels like it needs to like, to keep everything going, like if things start feeling uncomfortable, then I'll just lift my arm, reset, move the paper so I'm in a good spot, and then start again. I've been forgetting to timestamp. I need to pay somebody to go in and timestamp all the moments in my videos. I always forget. Okay, now what do we got in the book? Let's go back to our reference here. So, I'm gonna read this part. Don't spill ink on your book, Mike. That would be a bad idea. I should be using a printed version of this and not the original. These exercises should be made with no forearm acting, like a hinge at the elbow. So you will often hear penmen like myself talk about hinge movement. I will get into specifically what that is in a moment. And this is specifically saying that you should not be using hinge movement. No, sorry, that it should be made with hinge movement. I apologize. These should be made with the forearm acting like a hinge. No wrist or finger action are desired. Pure forearm movement. These are fine exercises for practice crosswise on the page over what has been practiced. Paper can thus be saved, and the habit of writing straight across the page without ruling lines acquired. Push the pen freely, firmly, yet lightly, halfway across the page and then back again with a crisp but not scratching sound. 2 forms are given, one solid and one in strips or bars. Space each uniformly and strive for neatness as well as ease. Watch position of the body and keep your holder pointing towards the right shoulder. So, there's a whole lot of really good tidbits and just information in that little thing. And then this part up here says count right, left, right, left, right, left. How many? Right, left, just 4 times at the rate of 100 strokes per minute, which is very fast. I'm probably not going to go that fast today, but that's okay. Keep wrist from working, very important, and see that your forearm acts from the elbow. So, what that means, what all of that means. First, we will talk at the very end of that. He said, make sure that your pen points to your shoulder. For anybody who's not using a traditional grip, disregard that statement. Because if you're using a traditional grip, there's no way, or if you're using a modern grip, there's no way in heck your pen is going to point to your elbow. It's going to shoot way out here. If you're using a traditional grip, what happens? See there. The tail of my pen is, if I follow that line, straight to my right shoulder. It is my belief that that is why they used the long pens in the Zenarian colleges and in schools, so that a teacher could look across and see a whole group of students and tell who was using a bad grip and who was gripping wrong, because all the tails would be pointing in the exact same direction. So a teacher could see, because if they have a whole class, it's going to be hard to see if somebody's grip is wrong. But if they're not wrong, then you could see over there and be like, hey, Diego, fix your grip, and chuck a chalkboard eraser at him or something. So that's what that means. But if you have a modern grip, disregard that. Don't try to point it at the elbow. It's going to be uncomfortable and weird. And it's all right, Diego. It's fine. It's okay. Happens all the time. Just don't let it happen again. Cool. So that being said, then we start talking about this hinge movement. So hinge movement is where this doesn't act. So when we're doing capitals and whatnot, all of this is moving. This is whole arm movement. If we're doing forearm movement, we're still here, but the movement it's still being driven by our upper arm and things like that. We're grounded here. But now we're going halfway across the page, so we have to go quite far. We're not relying on, where can I be? So I'm in camera here. We're not relying on the flexibility of our forearm to do this exercise. We're not doing like the opposite of push-pulls. We're not doing side to sides. We're using hinge movement. So this stays planted and our elbow is bending. So it's still like the flexibility of this muscle is being affected a little bit, but it's more so our arm is hinging. It's just moving like this. So this is staying uniform and our arm is just rotating side to side. Like that. Now the one thing that we will notice that is going to mess me up a little bit is my camera is set up with my paper at an angle that is not the best for hinge movement. I guess there we go. I can do it that way. Okay, we're good. So hinge movement this way. Notice it's all, if I do bigger than the page, my arm is hinging in and out. That's awesome, Ashok. I think it's a good idea to try to do the traditional grip. It's not for everybody. Not everybody likes it, but I do think in the end, once you get used to it, it is worth it, in my opinion. Ooh, that is yummy. Okay. So we're making a small arc. Nope. Well, when we're hinging like this, it is like our arm is making an arc, but for this exercise, we're going straight across. So it's hinging, but we're keeping the line straight. There's no curve in the book. There are exercises, I don't know if it's later on in this book, but the same idea that have a little bit of a curve, but that's not this one. All right, now I'm not gonna count right, left. I'm just gonna go side to side. We can probably do 8 of those is probably a good amount. Oh wait, I'm supposed to do these this way. So this is what they were saying in the way to not waste paper. They mentioned in that line. We can go this way and write across the work we've already done. So because my ruling is narrower than theirs, normally I would be about this far down the page, so I would be equivalent to half a page, but my ruling is more narrow on this Rhodia paper, so I'm going to be extending, how far down? I'm going to go down to here. So I'll be still going the length of approximately half a page, but I'm not going to be just going over this. So I'll have to go over that with another exercise later, I guess. Because I'm not using paper with the correct ruling. I would say, Marilyn, no movement at the wrist. For me personally, I use the hinge, but I just adapt it with my arm. So my arm's not doing pure hinge, it's doing hinge and a bit of pushing to the side, just ever so slightly to take the curve out. But it doesn't elaborate, so I can't say exactly what they mean or how they would do it, but that's how I would say to do it. Here we go. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I feel like the music's been really chill today. Which is funny, because it's the same playlist as usual. See, and now I was both getting to a point where I was starting to feel like my forearm was pulling down too far, where I was hitting my range of movement, and I had to dip to get more ink. So now is a very natural time to move my paper. I can do 6 of those instead of 4. Ran out of ink again. You could also reset your forearm every one of these. So when I finish here, I could lift my forearm and reset it a little bit farther down until you start feeling like you're getting just too far down, like you're writing too far, that your elbow's too far behind yourself. Then you move your paper. Pick up the speed a little bit. There is. I enjoy a tidy looking drill sheet. How big are those lines? Well, let's find out. And the spacing, I could have spaced these out a lot tighter if I wanted to. Maybe I should have to get more lines in there, but I'm not actually OCD. I am particular. I am very I like things. I like specificity a lot, but I'm not OCD. If you saw the cleanliness of my home at the moment, you would know I wasn't OCD. I am very specific though, but I like things to be tidy. All right, how long are these lines? Let's find out for Ashok. They're probably what, 3 inches? Oh, exactly 3 inches. Blazow. Yeah, they are exactly 3 inches long. And that's, what are they in the book? Let's check the ones out in the manual. Slightly under 3, so we're not bad. What's the ruling in this book? The ruling is 1, 2, 3/8 or 9 centimeters, or 3/8 of an inch. Specificity, yeah. It's the main reason I started saying specificity instead of OCD is, I mean, there are a lot of people that have genuine OCD, and one day, I don't remember if it was somebody who had OCD or was somebody who was just really particular about names of things, but something came up. People call me OCD all the time. A lot of my friends say I'm OCD and things like that, but that came up, and somebody sort of took offense to it a little bit, because there are people with OCD, and saying I'm OCD is sort of, not intentional, but it can be sort of disrespectful to people who actually have obsessive compulsive disorder. So I sort of stopped using it as a thing for myself. But I just don't think I'm OCD. Okay, now we're going to what they do here. There's some more push-pull exercises and small ones. We're gonna skip those. We're also gonna skip these little push-pulls and little ovals. If you're training yourselves, you shouldn't skip things, but I'm gonna skip things because it's a video and I wanna keep things kind of fun. We're gonna do these now. So same idea, but we're going to curve the lines. This is a good exercise with which to gain freedom from left to right. Count as follows: right, left, etc., at the rate of about 100 strokes per minute. How fast is that? Just so I can gauge it and compare it to what we're doing already. Where is it here? 100. Oh, that's quite slow. So I guess that's not, we were going a little bit faster than that. That's a good tempo. It's nice and chill. Doesn't feel crazy. Metronome of death. What does they also say in here? Let the strokes be quite regular, as that of a pendulum, and as clear-cut as you can possibly make them. Do not let the wrist twist. So that answers your question, Marilyn. No twisting of the wrist. but see to it that the forearm swings freely and forcefully straight from the elbow. Lightness and smoothness of stroke and quickness of action are desirable. So there we go. Okay. Oh, this song sounds weird because it's going left and right in my headphones and woo 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 woo, making a warbly sound. Okay, so let's do that one now. We're gonna do this one across the page this way, and the reason I'm gonna do that, well, I have this space to fill up, but the main reason I'm gonna do that is so I'm gonna use my lines here as a guide for my curve. So if I start here, I'm gonna come down to the next line and then go back up to the main line again, like so. And how long are those? I'm assuming those are just under 3 inches as well. Not that we have to be that specific about it. Yeah, around 3 inches as well. Oh, bedtime for Kim. Sweet dreams, Kim. Have a splendid evening. Thick going up. Claire, I would say it sounds like you are applying pressure on your upstrokes rather than having everything be nice and smooth along the paper, uniformly with your downstrokes and upstrokes. I would guess. Sounds like that's the issue. All right. 3 inches. Yeah, that'll work. We'll go approximately to halfway. Here we go. Nice and slow feeling. I mean, quick action, but he said it was slow. Now I drop down to the next line. And then just for fun, I'm gonna fill a line in the middle, just to save space. Look at this, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. So, imagine we have a nose right there, and we have an eyeball. And these are his teeth. Sorry, that's ridiculous. But you can see where my problem part is, where my lines start to get a little crazy. His eyes are also way off center too. Whoopsies. Oh well. Of course you do, coffee lover. Of course you do. That's good. Cookie Monster can be our friend through our penmanship journey. Oh, I bought cookies the other day. Mistake. They're all gone. 2 packages of cookies. Shouldn't have bought them. It was stupid. They only lasted 2 days. I knew better. No more. No more cookies. Not allowed. I thought I could trust myself, and I was wrong. What up, Kahlo? Oh, Kahlo's home from boxing practice. Oh, there's a fiber in there. Get out of there. I curved a little bit less on these ones. I wanted to experiment to see if I like that better. It's a little harder to gauge, but that's okay. Maybe it's a good challenge. That's a good exercise for practice. I'm using McCaffrey's ink today. All right, next we're gonna get into a lowercase letters, almost. What we have here, these tiny little ones. These are half width, little tiny ovals and push pulls. We're gonna do a few of those. Now this is where, this is crazy, and I might use the metronome for this for a minute. The little straight line exercise should be made with a quick vibratory or in and out motion with the arm at the rate of 300 downstrokes per minute, which is hard to do. Be sure to use no finger action in this exercise and see to it that the arm works freely in and out from the sleeve. So a big thing to take away from that is they do not use the term hinge movement. Last time I tried to do this exercise to get 300 per minute, it requires, for me, like I could do it with hinge movement, but my push-pull muscles aren't tuned enough to be able to do it, which means I need to practice it more often. So we're gonna do that today. Aim to secure uniform space as well as uniform height and slant. These exercises aid in gaining control. Make the little straight line exercises 1/2 of a space high. Straight line made quickly. Yeah. So we'll do they talk about the... They don't talk about the ovals, so that's just the same thing. We'll do ovals and straight lines. Yeah, this is manual 144, downloadable on my Discord. Thank you for answering those questions, everybody. I appreciate that. Now, I'm going to, I think, turn off the music because I do want to do this one with the metronome because we are going to try for 300 beats per minute, which is crazy. I'm going to also, what am I going to do here? I'm going to do them the same size as they are in the book, which means I'm going to have to rule a custom line. They are 1/2 millimeter or 3/16 high. Okay. We have to rule the headphones. Whoopsies. Oh yeah, rainy days, that's the best. You can just hang out and write. Oh, I just realized my my microphone is crooked. 2 seconds. There we go. Now it's pointing directly at my face instead of off to the side. I don't know if it makes a big difference when I'm this close to it, but better safe than sorry. Okay, what did I say? 3/16? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that'll work. That gives us a 3/16 line to follow. Okay. Music off. Can I just do that? Nope. That cuts the music off for you guys, but not for me. There we go. Music is off. Metronome on at 300 beats per minute. That's just sounds like a big number. We'll do the ovals first, and then the straight lines. We'll just do one line of each just for the sake of doing them. All right, here we go. Like, that is insanely fast for downstrokes. Down, 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 down. Like I said, if I rotate my page, I'll just show an example of this. If I were to rotate my page and use hinge movement, I can go this way and use hinge movement to get my circles and straight lines. My straight lines would be about like this. I could use hinge movement, but that is not what these are supposed to be. This is not how they're supposed to be trained. They are like so, with push-pull movements. No hinging of the forearm, which is really hard. But I'm assuming doing this is why they could all do ascenders and strokes so good, because those muscles are trained. We have not trained ours, so today we will train them. This is not going to be a whole metronome of death day, but we'll do a little bit just for this exercise specifically. Okay, ovals first, I guess, because that's what they did in the book, even though I don't want to do ovals at 300 beats per minute, but we're going to go for it. Oh man, that's fast. Jeez. Paper at this angle. And here we go, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, they just turned into scribbles. Jeepers, my range of movement is like an inch before my arm starts tripping out and just making scribbly lines. Jeepers. Sorry, Carlo. It's so bad. Every like 3, my arm goes like, it just goes all over the place. Holy smokes. I'm gonna turn the volume down a little bit because it's kind of obnoxious. Yeah, mine are crazy, and I cannot for the life of me keep a hairline. They're all just messy, terrible lines. I'm gonna bring it a little bit closer to myself and see if that helps a little bit. Jeez. Wow, this is definitely one of those exercises I should do every day. If this is something I'm supposed to train my arm to do, man, it needs work. Ooh, from like here to here, we're okay. I had a chunk that were decent. Man, that was hard. All right, next up, we're going to just leave that there for now, but I'm going to do that exercise more, just not today specifically. That was hard. Now we're going to do push-pulls. Now remember, don't be using Hinge. This is not supposed to be hinged. If your paper is turned at a more of an angle, it is easy to cheat and do these in Hinge movement. And there are letters. You can move your paper and use Hinge movement. For example, ascender strokes and things like that. You can use Hinge movement to do them. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not against the rules. But for this specific exercise from this book, it is asking for this as an in-out movement, not a Hinge movement exercise. So we're not going to do it with Hinge movement. We're going to do it the way we're supposed to do it, regardless of how good and or bad we are. Down, 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 down. Jeez, that's fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Here we go. I mean, it says vibratory. What up, bros? How's it going? I can't even move in the air that fast. Okay, here we go. Cheapers. They're like 5 or 6 millimeters, yeah. I'm not doing too shabby. My arm still kind of trips out every like 3 or 4. It's so hard to not resort to change the angle and do Hinge movement. Oh, mine were way too angled. That's gonna take some work. But that explains why they're able to do that. I mean, if they could do that, which I don't think they'd put it in a book if they couldn't do it. So I guess that explains why they were so good, or that's part of it. Yeah, that was the metronome. I'm not using the metronome a lot today, but for this one exercise that was supposed to be done at 300 beats per minute, I just wanted to use the metronome real quick. But now I'm going to turn the music back on. So here, let me explain that. The difference between Hinge movement, they both are the forearm and the upper arm. But the one, well, here. Can I zoom out far enough here? So, if I'm up here, I have to stretch my arm a whole lot to get it all in frame, but you'll be able to see. Let me take a sip of my beverage real quick. Gotta be nice and relaxed, Ashok. You gotta be super relaxed. That's the, every like 4, 1, 2, 3, bleh, my whole arm just goes like, bleh. It doesn't, it just freaks out. That was the craziest. That was no sip? Was that not enough of a sip? A sip is small. Am I supposed to sip more? Am I being peer pressured right now? Is that better? Nope, no ink today. I also have tea, which I forgot about my tea. I was kind of silly today to make tea and pour myself a tasty beverage. No, it was a sip. It wasn't a gulp. It might have looked like a gulp. Maybe I'm a gulpy drinker. Okay, so hinge movement versus non-hinge movement. So if I have my sheet of paper here, let's say I was making a push-pull on this line. Well, I don't even know if you can see that line from way up there. Where are we here? I need to turn this down. There we go. So that line that you see right there, if I were... Yeah, now we go. I could turn on some spa music. I could find some royalty-free nature sounds after that. We can get all super zenned out. But then everybody would fall asleep. So with that line there, with in, out, or push-pulls, we do those where my arm, this is my forearm is right here, my elbow's back here. I'm using this movement. You can see it in both cameras now. This way. It's going in and out, essentially, of my sleeve. If I was wearing a sleeve, my arm would be pushing in and out of the sleeve. So that's what they call the in and out motion or push-pull motion and things like that, which is what we were trying to do with that exercise. It's, for some people, comfortable. For me, it's a really foreign, weird feeling movement. It's the movement in all of penmanship that I think I have the most trouble with, which is why ascender strokes are like the bane of my existence. Now, if I'm doing this same stroke, if I were to do it with hinge movement, it's the same idea, but rather than pushing in and out of a sleeve, my arm is going to hinge. So you can see in my face cam, I'm bending my elbow, so it's bending in and out. This is hinge movement. So if I was in the camera, it's my elbow is bending, so I'm using my elbow as a hinge rather than just as a stationary point. So if I were to turn my paper to this angle, let's say I were to go all the way to that angle, now if I were to do in-out movement, I'm like the opposite of the slant line we're writing at. But if I bend my elbow this way, if I use that hinge, then I'm hinging at that angle. So I'm not using an in and out movement, I'm using a hinge movement. Yeah, no wrist involved in any of it. It's all forearm. So that little exercise, if I were to turn my paper like this, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not hard at all at 300 beats per minute to do hinge, or even with the circles. At that angle, it's more natural with the way our body is built to do it with hinge movement. But what we're training is to do it with push-pull or an in-out movement, which is, like I said, a little bit more foreign. Some people find it more comfortable. For me, it's a little weird, as you can see, and it's just really fast to get that control. It feels kind of spastic and things like that. So that's the big difference between hinge and forearm movement. Now we'll zoom back in here. I think we were about there. Turn this back up. Oh, how bright do we want to go? Right about there is probably a good place to be. Yeah. Second breakfast, nice. All right. Now, our undercurves. We're gonna now create. We're gonna do these all in one. We're gonna skip We're gonna skip a couple steps as we're going through here because we're not really taking this course right now. We're just working on our lowercase letters. So we have here our undercurves, which we were learning how to do those sort of through here and with our ovals as well. And then we have our straight downstroke, which we were obviously working on when we did our quick downstrokes and our push-pulls earlier. And then so we combine those with our downstroke and undercurve, so we get a lowercase I. Now we're not going to worry about going too fast. I'm not going to use the metronome or anything, but we're just going to combine all those and do a bunch of lowercase i's. I'll do some separately, and then I'm just going to do a bunch of i's. Essentially a bunch of u's as well. Yeah. Go at whatever speed you want. I'm gonna find it hard to not go with the music since the music is playing. Maybe, we'll see. Maybe I won't want to go with the music. Oh, that's too spaced out. I'll keep those a little more condensed. So I'm taking my pause points at this, which is what I call a hard stop. Wherever there's a point, that's a place that I like to insert a pause if I feel like pausing, which to go with the music and maintain a smooth flow of my writing, I will add a small, short pause at that point. Zoom you guys up a little bit since we're writing smaller now. At what height? What is this, about 2 millimeters? I could probably go a little higher than that. I can maybe take it to 3. Yeah, these ones are at 2, but I would go around 2 or 3 millimeters. All right, here we go. So I'm just going up, down, up, down, up, down, up. With this song, you don't have to follow that rhythm at all. Just the dancer in me is wanting to follow that rhythm. You could go faster, you could take out the pause and totally disregard the music if you wanted, like that. Totally up to you. But I feel like having that pause gives me a fraction of a second to stop, think, breathe, and then go into the next one. Same thing, there's no hinge, there is no fingers, no wrist. In this writing specifically, we're using all movement. Farther down the road, you can get into combination writing and all that kind of stuff, but for now, everything in the hand is nice and solid. Now the ones in the reference book are a little more rounded than the ones that I'm doing right now. I have a feel like that's because of the speed they're doing them at. They were training them quite quickly, so a lot of the forms in this book are quite rounded. I'm not going to work at those speeds because I don't want to get in the habit of creating rounded forms myself. Because I'm ultimately doing this to help my ornamental penmanship lowercase letters and not necessarily business writing. Oh no, Marilyn, there's no breaking of nibs because we all have nice light grips so our nibs don't break. No crazy nib snaps and any of that kind of stuff. Nice light grips and light movement. Some of my bottom turns are getting a little sharp, so I'm going to round them out just a little bit. It's very important, a very important mentality, at least I think, when you're practicing. A lot of times we get stuck on filling a page, or I'm going to do 4 lines of this writing, so we try to finish 4 lines instead of trying to do each form as good as we can, analyzing it and always trying to improve on the next one. Doesn't mean we always improve on the next one, but the goal is always to improve. So we're not rushing, we're trying to improve continuously until we finish a page or until we hit the end of our practice session or anything like that. Will it be a good idea if we could somehow measure the pressure of the nib we put on the paper? We could. But honestly, when we're doing these types of things, like an exercise like this, there is no shade required. So for me, there doesn't need to be any pressure whatsoever other than gravity holding or pressing, the pressure of gravity putting your nib on the page. You don't need to apply any pressure at all, really. The less pressure, the better, because then the nicer, cleaner hairlines you're gonna get, and it's just a good habit to get into. Which I will always recommend loosening your grip, because if you're not gripping the pen, you can't possibly be applying weight to it. If I'm not gripping it, example, if my fingers were up here, it's just gravity. Oh, let me get the ink started because I was talking. We don't have to press down at all. We're just letting the nib do the work. We're just guiding it along. We'll do another line of these. But doesn't that allow the paper to pull the nib and make squiggles? I don't know. I don't exactly understand what you mean when you say having the paper pull the nib. If you could elaborate on that a little bit. Ooh, these are getting all over the place. That was a bad group. Oh, we got a new follower! We haven't seen the little dizzy dude in a while! Fun. I can't see the name up on my screen, my view's not big enough, but thanks to whoever subscribed to my YouTube. That's fun. We haven't seen the little dizzy dude in a while. I would say Ashok, I wouldn't say that round is more business penmanship or anything like that. It's just there's different styles, like the way Mills did business penmanship or the way Zahner did business penmanship. They were the penmen that used slight combination movement. Their lines were a little bit more refined than the ones that just used rapid movement, which is why people like Tamblyn, like his exercises can look kind of messy because he did them really, really fast. So his lines sometimes get a little bit more rounded, and that's just not a style that I'm particularly aiming for. Not that one is more business penmanship or more ornamental penmanship. I just like a slightly sharper than round. Like you can see, I'll show the round ones. If you have the book, you can see the roundness of the eyes in his book, and some business penmanship is sharper than this as well. Like just this curvedness right here. They're this downstroke curves a little bit earlier than I like mine to, but that's just a personal preference thing. And there were business penmen that had the straight line go straighter and had a little bit of a sharper bottom turn. So yeah, personal preference type of thing. All right, let's finish this line of our undercurve downstroke combination. Wow, yeah, our music is super chill today. And I find every once in a while my own writing, if I get a little too sharp, which sometimes I really like the look of a sharp underturn or a sharp lower turn, but if it gets a little too sharp, then if I notice that, then I try to round it slightly, just to shave off that edge a little bit. Just in the, I guess, fine observations. What else do we got in this paper here? let's do our next lowercase letter. So he does a lot of pages. We're not gonna do the capital O that he did because we're focused on lowercase. We have 2 pages of other ones he has here. They do a big exercise to do these, double the size, and then we go back, or no, quadruple the size, and then he does the small ones. We're not gonna do that at the moment. We did eyes. We don't have to worry about dotting them because that's not hard. Wow, they spend a lot of time on this form. What we're gonna do next is take the same exercise, doing our eye strokes, and we're going to add a space. So we're gonna have a longer space, so we'll make actual U's. So the form will be the same. We're just squishing or doing 2 like we've been doing, and then adding an extra long space, and then 2 more. So let's go from U's. Just so we're not repeating the same thing over and over and over for too long today. Ah, I get what you're saying, coffee lover. I guess it could, technically. It could follow the grain of the paper. What up, Sadwick? But in my experience, the nib still goes where I want, and my grip is ridiculously light. Like when I say I barely hold the pen, it's true. Like if I didn't grip or if I kept my regular grip like I'm using today and did shades, the pen would just fall out of my hand. But that I think is a big contributing factor to getting fine hairlines and not getting a lot of nib snaps in signature writing and things like that. And I contribute a lot of that to, I think a lot of that is because of having a really nice light grip. Also, less tension in your hand, so I think it's healthy. You want to know, Ashok, how fast I did this one? I would say I probably did it at around, I'm going to say like 150 is my guess. I don't actually know, but let's see what that sounds like. Nope, not even. Maybe 100? 100 feels like it's going to be too slow. Let's see. Okay, so basically, yeah, I would do this at like 100. And like I said earlier, when I'm actually writing, I probably go a lot quicker than this, and I don't do the pauses at the top. But when I'm with that exercise that I was doing following the music, it was approximately 100 beats per minute. And what I'm doing is I'm just pausing. So I'm going 1, down, up, down, up, down, up. So my up is a pause. I'm just holding for a second up there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's at 100 beats per minute at that tempo, which is, I think, a healthy, good tempo to do for this exercise. If we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4. Like that, around 100. You could potentially go a little slower than that, but we run the risk of if you go too much slower than that, you're going to start trying to control things, and we want to make sure we're keeping that nice movement. But that might be quick. So it's up to you. You could go down to like 85 and add just more of a pause. I would try to keep the downstroke and upstroke the same quickness, and then just add a longer pause between each one. So like if right here we had 1, down, up, down, up, down, up. If you were gonna go slower, I would still go up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So your movement is still happening quickly, but you're just taking that pause in the middle. If you do your movement slower, that's where we'll get some shaky lines and things like that. What up, Brolin? All right. I guess I started this line. Let's just finish this line here. All right, now we're gonna do some U's. So same idea, we're just gonna do a longer space in, we'll do 2 regular ones and then a longer one. This song does not go well with this exercise, but that's okay, we'll ignore it. Or it's over, maybe now we'll have something that sounds good for it. We'll see, cross your fingers. We have 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the more you can get that, I call it the dash, this longer one, that not slowing down on that connective stroke, but getting that dash sideways. The more you get used to that dash, that's then a muscle memory thing, and you'll do it more so the same every time you do the stroke. So your spacing will be more uniform. Ooh, that was a very round one at the end. We still don't know if Lurker Leon is here today. Maybe he hasn't attended a live since IAMPeth. Maybe he just doesn't want to let us know. Maybe he's just sitting back, drinking his bourbon, giggling at us because he's choosing to not talk to us, but he's here. If you're here, Lurker Leon, what up? Here we go. This is a really good speed for this one, at least for me it feels quite comfortable. Ooh, shouldn't have done that last one. I pushed my range. But that's okay. Sometimes we gotta push it. Oh no, I like that song. Ooh, this one's gonna be quicker, but I don't know if I want to do it quicker. This is a fun little exercise in, this is like dance training. You gotta freestyle to whatever song plays. This is not usually how I practice, but I'm kind of enjoying it. Ooh, that was a good set. We'll give that set a happy face for fun. That set felt good. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, same exercise, I'm gonna keep going with this one, but I'm gonna turn my paper this way, and I'm gonna work across. Now this is not a cross drill, because I'm not specifically spacing each one of these. I mean, some of them will end up sort of being that way, but the space between my letters is not equal to the space between the way this paper is ruled. So I'm not gonna worry about keeping my U's all in each one of these spaces because that's gonna be too condensed. So this is not a cross drill. It is a drill that's going to cross, but it's not a cross drill. I'm going to do this same exercise, and I'm going to keep the same spacing I did down here. I'm just going to do it horizontally. So I'm going to make my brain ignore that there's anything here at all and just write horizontally across here. So that won't look as pretty as a cross drill, but it's going to help me train the lowercase u. I'm gonna do half of the page a u and then half of the page, I'll do a bunch of i's and then I'll do some u's. Or maybe, no, I'm just gonna keep doing u's, whatever, I like u's. I like u's. We're just gonna go all the way across and ignoring the spacing. This will also help me practice writing without guidelines, which is a great skill to have. It kind of works out, actually. The spacing isn't that far off. It's not exactly, you can see that my spacing is even because this U goes from being slightly under the line, on the line, slightly over the line, above the line, in the middle, and then under the line again. So my spacing is uniform. It's progressively getting a little bit farther. What up, Villas? Oh, I could do... Well, I haven't done V's yet. We haven't got to V's. We haven't done the V stroke. Or we haven't trained that element yet. So I'm going to stick to U's. I could do alternating U's and I's. But we haven't done V's yet today, so I'm not going to dive into that world quite yet. Whoops, that one was too spaced out. This is a fun song. Doesn't really work for this exercise. Ooh, this could be some really quick ones. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. We're gonna try it. I don't think I'm gonna like it, but I'm gonna try it. Too wide. Yeah, that's a little too quick. I mean, there's not a huge difference between the slow ones, but I feel like doing them faster isn't helping me much. So I'm just gonna slow down a little bit and I'll ignore the song for this one. So for, in the theory of penmanship, it talks about, or the theory of Spencerian penmanship, I don't remember the exact wording, but I feel like they use combination movement a little bit for that one to control the lowercase letters, unless I'm mistaken. It is still movement writing. They just incorporate a little bit of like fingers for the downstrokes and things like that. The way I like to think about it, pretty much all movement writing that I'm doing is essentially like forearm movement, whole arm movement, doesn't matter. Everything I'm doing is a little bit combination movement, and that's just because I train just my arms. I don't put too much training into my fingers and hands. I like when my fingers and hands come into play, it's a sort of subconscious lending a hand. They're just helping out here or there. Like my fingers do act from time to time, and my wrist does act from time to time when I'm writing things, but a lot of times the arm is doing most of the work, and this is just, like I said, subconsciously just like lending a hand from time to time. So that's how I like to think about combination movement. Not everybody thinks about it that way. That's not necessarily the right way to think about it. I prefer the idea of doing everything in pure forearm movement with the fingers lending a hand without thinking about it. My issue comes into play when I think about, or when people are training and they think about using the fingers and the hands, then it's easier to control what you're doing with the fingers and the hand, so more thought goes into the fingers doing it than the arm doing it. So what they'll end up more so, that's when we're drawing the forms. Even if you're drawing them like quickly, the fingers are doing more than the arms. And I think if you train movement writing for a while and the movement is comfortable and it's sort of habitual and good and it's your natural way of writing, then if you start to train and look at and incorporate combination movement and the fingers and stuff, you can focus on, okay, now when I do this letter, I'm going to start to use my fingers right there. But because you already have a base in arm movement, which is why, all the drills and stuff are so important when we're doing it, and the drills don't use any combination anything, because it trains, you're then putting the finger movement on top of, which is a good thing, you're adding it to your already established trained movement writing, if that makes sense. Whereas coming at it from training the combination movement, you can get there's a potential that you'll get caught up on the combination and the fingers and wrists, and the arm is going to be doing less. It's going to get it's going to be slacking. What up, John? I would call it a personal choice, Rose. Some people do it, some people don't. My fingers move, but I train them to not move. So when they do move, it's a subconscious thing. They're just helping out. I don't actively try to move my fingers. They just move when they want to lend a hand. Most of the movement that I use, like for ornamental penmanship, lowercase letters, for example, I shade with my fingers. The shade that I apply is with my fingers doing ornamental penmanship lowercase, but I like to create the forms with my arm. And if the fingers help out, then they help out. They're just there lending a helpful hand. We're not really using the metronome of death all that much today, Giancarlo. We use it a little bit for a couple exercises, but not a whole lot today. All right, back to this exercise. You are very welcome. I hope that made sense, and my opinions aren't the same as everybody's. My opinions aren't necessarily correct, but that's how it makes the most sense to me, and it's what's most comfortable for me. Ooh, that line was a little not straight. Oopsies. Why'd that happen? Oh, what up, Annie? Welcome. It's true, Giancarlo. It is very true. I'm gonna finish these rows of U's, and then we're gonna go on to the N. One habit that I'm currently trying to break, you can't really see it on camera. I have a tendency in my writing, I think I've mentioned this before, I sometimes drop the heel of my wrist. This is what I call the heel of my wrist, not a technical term, but I tend to sometimes drop the heel of my wrist down onto the page when I'm writing. There's never any pressure there, but sometimes it sits, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just another contact point, but I would rather I didn't do that. So I'm trying to get out of the habit, and I'm noticing every once in a while, I'll be like, whoops, I let it drop down. It's like posture. It's something that I don't recognize all the time when I'm doing it, or I don't realize. It sneaks up on me a little bit. My elbow is not touching the table. My elbow is actually sitting about that far off of the table. If you can see, or I don't know if you can see in the bottom of my face cam. My finger points out there. My elbow is off of the table, and even like if I was writing far up here, even if I'm here, my forearm is on the table, but my elbow itself, I guess it could technically touch. But my elbow, personally my elbow, the way I sit at the table, sits off the edge of the desk. But that's going to be kind of different for different people, depending on your setup and your body proportions and whatnot. I know I'm pretty sure there's some books out there that talk about writing far enough forward or bending the wrist or the forearm in a way that your elbow is on the table, but the majority talk about the elbow being up or off of the table a little bit. Yeah, Giancarlo, we're working today. We're putting in work. Normally, it's playtime. Today, it's work time. Because it was requested. I don't remember who it was. Somebody asked for lowercase letters, so we're doing lowercase letters. And when doing lowercase letters, we could start, or we could just do the letters, but if we're gonna do them, we may as well work all the way from the foundations and train them all the way up. Whoops, I didn't have an entry stroke on that one. There you go. Can we do uppercase next week? We will I don't know what we're gonna do next week. I feel like next week might end up being a, I don't know what we're gonna do next week. We might do, because Sig Slingin' Sunday starts next week. Or starts this weekend. Oh, forearm or heel of my hand off the table. So we could do a Sig Slingin' thing on Tuesday. Even though I kind of want to leave those for like the breakdown and all that stuff. We don't really have to spend. I might try it a couple times on the video. What up, Fozzie? Technically not cross drills. They are drills that are crossing, but they're not technically cross drills because I'm not following the same spacing. I'm following my comfortable spacing, the same spacing I did this way, but it doesn't correlate to the ruling on this paper. So as you can see here, the U happens and then each U is slightly farther along because my spacing is slightly wider. So it's like a cross drill, but I'm basically ignoring everything that's written below it, and I'm just writing my own even spacing before it. We could do like, you know what would be fun? We could do another one of, in the journals, we could create, like, you know those kid books? It's like, A is for apple, B is for blah blah blah. Which technically B is for blah blah blah, I guess. We could do one of those. We could do like a super elaborate capital A, like super flourished and whatever crazy capital A, and then we can write beside it, A is for blah blah blah. We could create an alphabet book, maybe 26 capital letters. That could be fun. A is for Ashok. I don't think I can make it anybody's names, Ashok. That shows too much favoritism. But I think that's a good idea. I've never thought of that before. That just popped in my head. I think that would be fun. We could get a theme. We could do, I mean, all the kids' books are like apples and things like that. We could maybe get a theme for it. Or, it doesn't even have to be A is for blah blah blah, B is for blah blah blah. We could just do a book that is a super elaborate A, a super elaborate B, and we could go through like a really quick process of sort of designing or planning out a super elaborate flourish and then going for it in a book or something. That could be cool too. So taking out the is for and just do the alphabet. All right, we did our exercises. Let's move on. Can we start with S? No, we can't start with S. The alphabet doesn't start with S. That's a silly... The writer should sit with the right arm on the desk. Rest the arm slightly upon the elbow and forearm. Yeah, there are books out there that talk about the elbow being on the page. Me personally, where I sit naturally, I feel reachy if I write out that far. So my elbow hangs off the desk about 2 centimeters or an inch or so. Okay. We did I, we did you. Let's move it on. Okay, so we got some more drills here. We're gonna do these little guys again. If anybody wasn't here before, sorry Fozzie if you're still here. We're gonna use the metronome of death a little bit to do these ones at 300 beats per minute again. We'll see, maybe we got better. Maybe in doing all those U's, our hands got better at it. But now we're doing this exercise because next up for the N is the overturn. So we're gonna do this one, which is the same exercise we did before, curving. Instead of doing under curves like we did before, we're gonna curve to the top. And yeah. That one was suggested at about 100 beats per minute, which is nice and slow for that exercise. We're not gonna worry about the beats. And I'm going to, again, saving paper, I'm gonna write directly over top of this exercise here. Or actually, could I go this way? What should I do? No, I'm gonna do this way. Because then I can use the line spacing to keep uniform curve. Yeah, book your next spa appointment, you Ashok. What up, Ekta? How's it going? Alright, let's do this one. This song is nice and chill, so this exercise will be nice and chill. This one will feel a little more natural because it goes with this is like what you were talking about earlier, Marilyn. It has a little bit more of that curve in it. That our natural hinge that we're doing creates. Which this exercise does use the hinge. I think I ran out of ink. One more line of these ones. And we'll go over here, do a second set. Glad to hear it, Hector. Glad to hear it. I have a lot of trouble keeping the curve the same on both of these. That is a challenge. I gotta pay slightly more attention. I think I ran out of ink. No ink. Okay, pretty sure there's some fibers in there. Now I'm going to line my page for 2 lines at 4 millimeters or 3/16 of an inch for our crazy fast exercise. I gotta figure out if when I sing the song, if it's I don't know if what I'm hearing is the same as what you guys are hearing, or if I'm not on beat when I sing. I'm nervous to groove and dance on a live because I don't know if it's if I'm on beat to what you guys are seeing. Now, we're gonna go fast for this, so take a drink to loosen myself up a little bit. Perfect. Oh, stretch the body. Sweet. Let's do it. We're gonna turn the music off. We're gonna turn the metronome of death. Thank you, Fozzie, for coining that phrase that everybody uses now. And we will do this exercise at 300 beats per minute. All right, music is paused. Metronome is, oh, we had it set to 100. We gotta go back up to 300. Okay, we are, ladies and gentlemen, ready to roll. Don't be sleepy. Being tired is a waste of energy, don't you know? Alright, here we go. Play. Jeepers, I forgot how fast that was. Alright. It honestly felt a little better. Ugh. The hardest part is relaxing. I tend to tense up quite a bit. Yeah, this is intense. Okay, relax. Relax the shoulder, relax the arm. Go for it! Jeepers. That one was messy. What's going on, Kahlo? We're doing an exercise at 300 beats per minute. Tiny little ovals. Going, following the book, doing them at the speed they want us to do them, but they're very hard. Man. Yeah, alright. There's our ovals. They did feel a little bit better than last time, but now we're gonna do the push-pulls. We'll see how those feel. Yeah, don't worry, Hody, neither can I. Here we go. Downstroke, just push-pulls, not using hinge movement. That's the important part. Jeepers. I get like, I'm good for like a centimeter and then my arm starts to trip out. And when I say good, it's not that good. 300 is really hard. Now I want to demonstrate real quick how easy it is to cheat. There's two ways that you can cheat. If I use my fingers, they look a lot better, but I'm not training properly. I'm using my fingers instead of my arm. Or if I use hinge movement. So I turn my paper so I can use hinge. It's a little harder. So you see how clean those two are. Those are cheating. We don't want to do that. Yes, it's easier, but the point of this exercise is not to do a perfect line of little lines across the page of little push-pulls, because that's not a thing. That's not something that we ever have to do. That's not a letter. We're training our muscles to be able to do certain letters written a certain way. So doing the cheating, sure, you can post your work and it's going to look really great and you're going to look like you're doing really good work, but it's not really going to help you. Unless you're continuously turning your page, so you're writing letters with hinge movement or with your fingers in. Don't do that. That's silly. Get out of the way, Mr. Teabag. Okay, same as last time. When we went into the U, we're now going to do the overturned downstroke. So we're going to make an upside down U, essentially, or a bunch of N's. So we're going to start with our overturn. We're not going to split these up like this, but we're going to do our overturn downstroke, combining those two. And then overturn downstroke, upside down U's like we did before. And then we're going to skip this E exercise and the AU and the CU and go straight into this one here, doing the upside down U's or the M's and N's strokes like so. And then they have a fun exercise here, which I don't think I've ever done, now that I think about it. It's just the ending, the second stroke of an N or the third stroke of an M. Excuse me. Curving like that continuously, no hard stops at all during the whole thing. We're going to try that one as well, and then we'll create some separated N's and separated M's. You got a year to train for next year's IAMPIT. Alright, here we go. Right, it's been silent now. Let's get some music back going on. Just use the metronome for that one silly exercise. You kind of did, George. Everybody is currently complaining because I just did a couple really, really difficult exercises. And everybody's whining and complaining. So, yeah, you kind of did. You just walked into the end of a tired CrossFit class. But now we're back to chill again. Ish. That exercise is kind of ridiculous, though. But, as you can see, I didn't do a very good job at it. It's tough. I gotta do that one more often. No crying for the coming up signature challenge. So far, the signatures that we've been looking at aren't that complicated. They're not that difficult. So we'll have some simpler ones. But yeah, the signature challenge is just fun. There's no pressure. It's not like you win or lose. You just gotta try to do your best. Almost 1:30. That sounds like a beautiful time of the night to me, Lori. All right, here we go. No breaks in it, just overturns and downstrokes. Here we go. I'm adding the a slight fraction of a second pause on after every downstroke. I am noticing though, I'm getting slightly, it's not a shade, but in my retrace, I'm getting slightly darker lines, which I don't like. So I gotta try to lighten up that stroke just a little bit. Lighten up, Mike, jeez. Oh, this is a little slower, this will be chill. Oh, nice, George. That's awesome. Post it in the Discord. I want to see it. That's a little better. See, now we're chilling. Back to spa music. Ooh, that last one was a bad downstroke. Fully onsen vibes. I agree, George. True story. Oh, but now it's over. Do I have a writing playlist? No. Normally when I'm writing at home, I have audiobooks playing, so I don't actually listen to music when I write most of the time. Sometimes I'll listen to music by Helen Jane Long, or I'll listen to that lo-fi hip-hop channel on YouTube. I can't play those songs in my YouTube videos because I get copyright strikes. So this is a royalty-free lo-fi channel that it's got many hours of songs, and this is the playlist that I've used for a while now for these late night lives. I might change it up one of these days, but there's so many songs in there that we get new ones all the time. But I don't really have a specific playlist because I'm usually listening to Harry Potter or some audio book when I'm practicing. Ooh, that's a good idea, Fozzie. I should make a list of songs that work at specific beats per minute that are good for specific exercises and post them for people to listen to. That's a good idea. I should make a penmanship playlist. I'll have a drills playlist and a train faster playlist. Alright, now I'm going to try this little exercise that is the overturn into the downstroke into the underturn. But not just the one, it continues. I've never done this continuing before. I don't know what speed to do this. I should be able to go the same speed. We'll see. Whoa, that is a weird exercise. That feels strange. I gotta slow down a little bit on that one. Yeah, I've legitimately never done that one before. I mean, never in writing do you have to combine two of those, so it feels really weird. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, George. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna ignore the music and go to whatever speed I want here. That is a weird exercise. I see how it could be very helpful, but it feels weird. The one thing that would make it really helpful for me, I have a tendency of making my my downstroke when I do this one curve back too much, so it ends up looking like a wave instead of being a rounded top, straight downstroke, and then rounded bottom. See you later, Rose. Have a good one if we don't see you later. We may or may not be still here. We never know. Okay, those are getting better. You can't, Edgar? I listen to audiobooks pretty much all day long when I'm doing anything. I pretty much always have a book playing, unless I'm specifically watching a video or reading something. I pretty much always have an audiobook playing of some kind. Okay, these are already feeling more comfortable. That's good. I'm gonna start making them a little bit bigger so I can control that downstroke a little bit better. We're gonna go up to like 3 millimeters instead of 2-ish. We're not actually measuring, but whoa, spacing is all over the place. But I guess this is why we practice if we can't do it. Ooh, this is a guy's song's got a cool vibe to it. How many lines did we do up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We gotta do one more. Yeah, this one takes some work. This is a good exercise. It's something that should be easy, but it's not. There we go. That was a good set. We're getting better, folks. We're getting better. Oh, don't make them wavy. These ones got a little looking like waves. That's true, Hector. That makes sense. When I listen to an audiobook the first time, I probably pay more attention to it. I am a repeat offender when it comes to audiobooks. I listen to them many, many times in a row. That's that is a thing, George. It's sometimes it can be really difficult to ignore a beat that's going, and other times you just got to ignore it. You gotta shut it off as if it's not even there. As a dancer, I have to learn that because I hear songs, and when you're walking, you can't always walk on the beat of a song. If I can and it's natural, I do. Habitually, that just happens as a dancer, but I can't do that all the time. So you train to regular life and regular body movements just have to happen. I remember once when I was a lot younger, I went running. I used to go jogging with my sister back in the day, way back in the day. And I would always run out of breath, and it was because I used to breathe. How was it? Yeah, it was like on every step would be like a intake, outtake, intake, outtake. But it was uneven. Like there was more intakes than outtake than outs, or more outs than ins. I can't remember. But it was very, very rhythmical, and it didn't make any sense in like a exercise, workout, breathing context at all. And I never really realized I was doing it until somebody heard me do it, and it's like, why are you breathing like that? And it's just because I was breathing to the rhythm that I was running, and it just made sense. And there's better ways to breathe to the rhythm that you're running and not be doing a stupid rhythm. It was just a really dumb rhythm to do it. Didn't make any sense. And other exercises we've done today, like the U's and these M's, because they have this hard stop here at the bottom, I can, if I can do to the music, and I can slightly pause on those points. But because this exercise doesn't have a stop, it doesn't feel natural or comfortable for me to go at the speed of this song, because I would want to stop after that beat. And if I don't stop, it's slightly too fast to be comfortable. So I'm just disregarding the song altogether in my brain and going with whatever rhythm feels natural for the writing. There we go. That was a good set, not too wavy. All right, now we're gonna turn this over to the side. Ooh, this song was played a few times in the past, not today, I don't think, but now we're gonna do ends. Yep, we're gonna do ends. And again, we're gonna disregard this spacing here because we're not gonna have space for it. We're not going to worry about filling that space. We're just going to follow a straight line and pretend that there's nothing underneath there. So again, not a cross drill, just a drill that crosses. See, this one we can do on the beat. Hey, whoops, did one too many. I think doing that exercise helped my ends a little bit. Doing that wavy exercise, that's a good one. Which makes sense. It was designed to do that, so Pew, 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 pew. Good night, Diego. I'm sorry that you can't keep up. Have a good night, man. Ooh, this is fast. This might be too fast to be comfortable. Maybe. We'll try. That's quick. Ooh, I'm adding. These are all look shaded. Stop it. I gotta not do that. I gotta lighten up. That's valid. I'll allow that, Diego, I suppose. Sweet dreams. Ooh, this is a little too fast with this song. That one was offbeat. Whoopsies. Whoa! I don't know what happened in here. I guess that was just not enough space. Should have had more space than that. My fingers are no longer on a piece of paper, they're on the leather. So my dash spacing has been affected ever so slightly. There we go, there's that exercise. That was a fun one. Alright, what's the book got next for us? We didn't do M's, but M's are essentially just N's. I feel like we might do some, but we don't really need to. We could, I suppose. What do we got next for oh, look at this! So, they were practicing the capital D in 2 different sizes and a push-pull drill, and then going alongside the other direction, they did those dreaded little super fast ovals and push-pull drills. And that's tough doing those ones without ruling. Yeah, these exercises should be practiced crosswise of the ruling, thereby schooling the eye in direction and size. These are hard enough when we have ruling, so that's going to take some work. Alright, what do we got next? They give us M's. I don't want to do M's right now. I want to do something else. I don't want to do X's, they're too much the same. They're what we already did. Give me another principle. Ooh, we could do V's. Did they not give, there's no like drill for V's? You just do V's? What? Interesting. Okay. They got no tricks for the letter V. You just gotta do it. So their exercise for the V is to do that weird exercise we were having trouble with a V on the end. And same with doing a bunch of M's with a compound curve, one at the end with a V on it. Interesting. Well, I feel like I'm just going to do a bunch of V's. I'm just going to separate them out. I won't do anything continuous. I guess let's go straight into consecutive V's. I need a glide sheet because I'm at the bottom of my page now, and my fingers do not want to glide on leather. Alright. Is this gonna work to this beat of music? I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, it should work. So we're doing that curve stroke. Nope, this song is a little too fast feeling for me to do it, but yeah, that exercise, that curvy one that needs some work. I'm gonna do the V's just on a different rhythm until a different song comes on. Now the big thing that I'm trying to incorporate in the V's is instead of having it go like so and dip straight from there, in what I think is the nicest business penmanship, and the way it's in this book as well, there's a tiny loop, but it doesn't look like a loop, but it ends up dipping down so that connective stroke comes from lower. So there's this little bit up there. It's not it's not a filled-in bead like I just drew it there, but it's sort of. It's a tiny, tiny little loop, or just coming down and out, which I want to incorporate more into my writing. So we're gonna practice adding that. V is vindictive. Indeed it is. That last exit stroke was a little curvy, but that's okay. Well, then it's a good thing we're practicing it, Hody. Terrible V. Ooh, I don't think I've heard this song before, or if I have, I don't remember it. Nice, good vibe. Doesn't really work for the V, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm doing the V a little bit slower than what we were doing that curvy stroke, and the M's for sure. All right, there's that. We finished a full page of practice. I kind of want to do more V's. I'm going to turn my paper around. I'm in the mood for V's. I don't need my glad sheet anymore. Pew, 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 pew. NVN. Oh, that's good. That's a good exercise. Whoops, that didn't work. Let's supposed to do 3 of those. What up, James? I didn't know you were still here. Or did... Oh no, you just came back. You weren't here. Welcome back. What are you up to, Lurker James? You were walking around earlier. What are you doing? Ah. I like this little exercise. Working on that wobbly, that curvy stroke. 2 of those and then a V. Feels good to do. Whoops, that is off slant. Death beat. Oh no, we we did an exercise at 300 beats per minute. We tried some little ovals and it was very challenging. Funny, I don't remember ever seeing this curvy exercise in any other books, and I've never noticed it in this one before. Continuing. It's an interesting exercise. And it makes sense that it would be helpful. Ooh, that was a good one, except for the exit stroke. Darn it. Went too high, too quick. I do very ornamental penmanship exit strokes, which maybe isn't a good thing for business penmanship. They're supposed to be short. I'll try to do some shortened ones now. Yeah, it depends what book you study from. It's about half of the width of a standard U. I believe, is that how they do it in this book? Yeah, it's about half of the width. In this one, it might be like maybe 3/4 of the width of a U. Might be just a little bit narrower, but it's essentially supposed to be about half. But it sort of depends on what size you're writing as well. Like if you write really tiny, if you're working at like a 2mm X height, then making it half can make it look too squished. But in general, yeah, it's a little bit narrower than the U. Same as the ending of a W. Somebody else followed us. We got a little dizzy bunny. I can't see the name of who it is. Who is it? Oh, now it's gone. Darn it. Whoop whoop. We haven't had any new followers in a while. 2 new followers today. All right, Giancarlo, have a good nap. Thanks for hanging out. Lavina from West Africa. Who are we talking about? Oh, the new... That was the name of who joined. Okay, sweet. I was very confused. I was like, that's not the Dizzy Bunny's name. But now I understand. Sorry, I was having a very stupid moment there for a minute. Sorry. I'm stupid sometimes. I apologize. Because the little Dizzy Bunny does have a name, but I prefer to call it Dizzy Bunny. Oh, that's fun, Marilyn. Thank you very much for linking to my Instagram. That's cool. I will start posting on Instagram again one of these days. I promise. I know it's been a while. I've been doing stories and stuff, but I will start doing regular posts one of these days. Whoops, that was supposed to be another wave. Lots of drills today. Maybe too many? I don't know. I feel like it's helpful for me, so I'm sort of in like a legitimate training mode or practice mode at the moment. So I'm enjoying doing it. I was kind of anticipating doing some different exercises, but I've been enjoying doing these ones. I know you dislike trails, James. I don't know why I like them so much. I don't know that I like them. I just get comfortable doing them, and then I just keep doing them over and over and over again. And they feel good. Whoa, that was a bad set. It is a little hypnotic, that's true. That's why the new followers are symboled by a dizzy bunny. No, James is definitely not fond of drills. That is very true. But that was a good that's a good practice session. That took a while too. I didn't do too much talking and not writing today. That was pretty much a lot of writing, and that was a good little practice session. Now, the proper way to train these things is you do all of this, and then you work on one exercise, and then you do these again before the next exercise, and these again, and then you slowly make your way through it. It does kind of look like a theater stage. This is my blueprint for the MrMGWard theater that I'm planning to build here in Vancouver. Yeah, James, that is true. That is very true. Doing words can be just as beneficial as just doing the drills themselves. When I mainly practice, I primarily do words as well. Without, not capitals, I do capital drills and stuff a lot. But when I do lowercase, I usually just do words. But lately I've been really wanting to buckle down and improve my technique in a lot of little small elements on lowercase, and I feel like the best way to do that is to do it this way, to go through these forms, technically to follow the actual book, but that would make for a boring late night live, so I wasn't going to do that today. I am going to end here, ladies and gentlemen. I know it is 2 minutes to midnight, so that's a bit, maybe that's mean of me, but I'm not going to go into the black light tonight. I got a few things I got to do before I go to bed tonight, so I'm going to wrap this up. That was a good practice session. Thank you everybody for joining me today. I hope that was entertaining or helpful or useful or anything like that. F-word is a very good drill for ascenders and descenders. That's true, James. Yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out with me today, everybody. That was fun. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you are falling in love with the process. I will let you know on the Discord or on Instagram what we're doing next week. And don't forget that coming up this weekend, we're going to be starting another series of Sig Slingin' Sundays, so keep an eye out on my Instagram for that. We'll have the video, and then the breakdown, and then what? And then my execution video of it, so that should be fun. But yeah, today was really great. I had a good time. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that life should be just a bit of silliness, really. I'll see you next time.